Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, where we talk about everything in gaming. Everyone loves a good internet mystery every now and then, and it seems that PlayStation is either directly or somewhat indirectly giving us one with the form of their latest promotional video that they shared earlier today. Now PlayStation, every now and then they give us these either hyper-realistic or just, wannabe everyday promotional videos to make us, feel good about paying as much as $699 on a PlayStation 5 Pro, any way to make it feel human. But this latest cinematic video here, it showcases a bunch of numbers in here that players are perceiving as a date that there's likely going to be another State of Play showcase to celebrate 30 years of the PlayStation 1 releasing, since the PlayStation 1 released in 1991 on December 3rd, 4th, hold on, wait, let me fact check. December 3rd, and I said 1991. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. PlayStation 1 console, factory sealed, graded VGA, $9,000. Anyways, where fans are channeling their inner game theory, self is where this promotional video shows this bus schedule mock here thing where it says 3/12/2024. Now you probably can't see the 3 here, but let me put it in slow motion. Yeah, see, look, there's a 3, probably caught it. 12/2024. Now, people are thinking that this is going to be a date for some sort of, direct showcase from PlayStation or a State of Play to where they celebrate 30 years of the PlayStation 1, just like how they did with the 25th anniversary back in 2019, to which at that event, they showcased Ghost of Tsushima. And everyone loves a good game reveal, especially during the time of a holiday when we have, the most incentive to spend the most amount of dollars, especially since PlayStation just announced that they're cutting the PlayStation 5 digital price tag from $70 until Christmas. Now, this disc-free console discount is yet to be applied to any mass retailer that I've seen anywhere. Even on PlayStation Direct website, it's still at the $449 price tag, but I'm guessing that this is going to go into effect in the next coming days, in line with the holidays. But anyways, back to this, I'm sure people remember back a couple months ago, PlayStation themselves said that they have no big first-party games planned until at least of April 2025 or like spring or somewhere around that ballpark. So that either makes me concerned that either they, lied to give us excitement for this event, or that, this is just a big nothing burger. People are just, reading too much into it, even though this date is kind of, I think there's something to that, 3/12/2024 is too much of a coincidence for them to just put it into a video, I'm kind of leaning towards it being something they announce. Now, what also could be the case, which I'm more thinking is going to happen, is the fact that players are speculating that instead of showcasing like some sort of new announcement game, they're just going to showcase a game that we've been wanting to see a lot of, like Marvel's Wolverine that Insomniac's been producing, that unfortunately got leaked last year, and a really badass shape. And even though most of us have probably already seen that gameplay and basically know like the first whole 30 minutes of what the shit looks like, at least in its beta form or alpha at least, a proper Wolverine game dive is long overdue. Like, especially coming off the success of the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, we need some shit like that in our lives. At least I do, because I don't want to be just going around speculating on freaking promotional videos, just looking at random numbers, trying to decode this shit like it's the Matrix or something. Sony, please don't tell me you wasted my time. Moving on, while everyone and their mom is having the time of their life playing and beating the game of Mario and Luigi Brothership since it just came out, I wanted to dial it back just a little bit to talk about Nintendo's last release game of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Just because of the light that it was recently shared by the game's producers and, lead developers in this latest BBC interview. Now, in this deep dive interview, mainly the developers and producers, they just explain how excited and happy that they were for Zelda Echoes of Wisdom turning out the way that it did, with a lot of its acclaim from its fans. With the title being the first actual Zelda game with you playing as Zelda, and even with this gameplay switch up with it being a top-down in the age of the new Zelda games being 3D based, the producers conveyed that they were really scared with how the players were going to feel on this big gameplay switch up, like how you can see here. A big concern for him was whether the unique gameplay of the Echoes was going to be conveyed properly, understood properly by the viewers. And I also found it funny that the Echoes of Wisdom producers, they said that on release night, they were watching closely over their smartphone to see people's reactions to the game. And I just, I can only imagine that, that's the feeling that you get when you show your friend a video of something that you like, and you want to see their reaction, hope they like it. But this is that feeling times 10. This is a multi-million-dollar or multi-thousand-dollar produced game. So I could just imagine the Grezzo employees just looking closely as hell at their phone, watching people play this shit on Twitch, like, do you like it? Do you like it? Anyways, Echoes of Wisdom, the one thing that I can praise it a lot for, that it also got a lot of, review score points for with a lot of other journalists that I've been seeing, is the fact that there's a lot of freedom in this game. Like, Zelda of Echoes of Wisdom capitalizes on the just aspect of freedom, of finding a bunch of different ways to complete a task that the recent games have been bringing to the Zelda franchise with building all these contraptions. But in this game, having all these echoes, things you can copy and paste and use to complete a course. And like I said the day after I first played it, my biggest gripe with Echoes of Wisdom that, obviously the producers, they mentioned here in this interview, is the fact that, like you can see right here in this gameplay, this menu that you can use to access all of your echoes, which by the end of the game you get over 100, well, just 127 of them. So you have to literally scroll back and forth in that menu that you just saw to get everything. There's like only 4 different categories to choose from, so it's not like an easy process, and it gets really tedious. But the way that the developers they defend this mechanic in the way that it is, they claim that they wanted people to stumble upon things that they might not have used in a while. Like, they want to encourage as much creativity and as much of experimenting as possible with having a menu that just slides left and right to where you see everything that you've ever used. In theory it sounds good, but in execution, once you get midpoint towards the game, you have a pretty good idea, or I wouldn't say like more like towards endpoint, you still get a lot of echoes during like that whole section where you meet the snow and shit. But once you reach a certain point in the game, you pretty much have a good idea of what to use and what not to use for any given situation outside of the enemies that progress all the way towards the end of the game. So while I do get the notion that they want to encourage experimentation and just seeing all the things that they added in this game, because undoubtedly there's going to be things that got more used than others, so they wanted to make sure that to give you as much option as possible, I still think that the option of having more detailed categories for all these echoes would have been needed, because it really got annoying towards the end when I had to scroll and fucking do a bunch of scrolling. But yeah, post-release of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, the producers claim that this top-down success of a Zelda game in 2024 is definitely gonna encourage some more of this style of Zelda games going forward if they continue to have good ideas. So that's pretty cool to hear. Moving on, back in August, at least one of my videos, I mourned the loss of, well, not the loss, but the loss of Hideaki Itsuno leaving Capcom after 30 years of creating, really cool IP for that team. So Hideaki Itsuno, this is the dude that's known for directing the games of Power Stone, Devil May Cry 3, 4, and 5, and most recently Dragon Dogma 1 and the most recent one released 2. And when he left Capcom back in August, his vision was to go and start a new chapter in his life and find a new place to go and make more cool games for the remainder of his career. And it seems that we finally know where that new home for him is going to be, because it was recently announced today that he is going to be joining LightSpeed Studios, which is a subsidiary of the bigger company of Tencent Studios, the people behind a lot of Japanese-owned IPs. Like PUBG is the one that comes to mind, but there's way bigger ones that they have dominion over. Okay, yeah, see, I miscommunicate Tencent games with their whole Tencent interactive business, where they have a lot of stakes in some of the biggest gaming companies in the world, like Riot Games and shit. But Tencent, their games division, they basically lead the whole mobile game sector with games like Call of Duty Mobile, EA Sports FC Mobile, just really big hitting games for the mobile platform. But yeah, LightSpeed Studios is a gaming division that's published under Tencent Games, which Tencent Games is under Tencent Interactive. That shit gets confusing as hell, oh my god. And in this LightSpeed Studios post, they claim that Hideaki Itsuno is going to be leading the development of AAA action games with their global team. So that's kind of exciting to see that, a veteran that's made really cool games, my favorite being Devil May Cry 3, which is one of the best hack and slash games of ever. You can fight me about it. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with this news. And lastly, let me put this in the theater mode. I wanted to briefly talk about the gameplay dive that we got out of the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game from yesterday from Xbox's channel. Now, this Bethesda published machine game developed game is going to be coming out December 9th. I thought this was next year, but apparently it's December 9th of 2024 for Xbox and PC, only to get a delayed release on the PlayStation 5 console. Now, this is obviously the first-person stealth, story-based, or whatever you want to call it, game based on the amazing franchise of Indiana Jones from the 80s and 90s. And in this gameplay deep dive, they basically showcase more of what we already saw from the announced trailer a few months back, and that's just the stealth gameplay. Introduce some of the characters like this lady here who's trying to get her sister back, the numerous puzzles and temple mini games that's essential for you to even get by and all the lore tidbits that they're going to have in the game. My favorite scene from this whole gameplay showcase, where they show you dressing up as one of the workers in this building, which one of the dudes, they tell you to get a bottle. It reminded me of the Half-Life cutscene. Like, look, the man gets mad at you, you grab the bottle, you could throw it at him, but you sat it down. Good boy. I also really enjoy looking at this combat showcase. It doesn't look like anything crazy, but I don't know, just the thought of first person just knocking somebody out is really fun to me, you know. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of stealth options where you can just throw bottles and distract enemies and just have, you know, really intuitive ways of doing it. Like I said earlier, with how Echoes of Wisdom and Zelda games, they encourage different ways of doing things. I think that's a really cool thing to have in games, so that there's different replayability options and it's fun to watch people actually play it. So the game in its current state looks solid, to be fair. My only thing is, the game, based on what we see here, just based on the level of graphics, based on, you know, the enemies and how it just feels and looks, this doesn't give off $59.99, $69.99 price tag of game. Like, this gives me $39.99, $49.99 price tag vibes. I can't explain it. Don't ask me to. It just, something about this title just doesn't warrant the full price tag, which is why I'm undoubtedly going to play it on Game Pass when it comes out. Now, that's not a knock to Indiana Jones. That's not a knock to Machine Games, because I enjoyed their work on the Wolfenstein titles. But something about this game just feels very $49.99-ish. I can't explain it. I don't know, maybe it's because the game just feels like a lot of empty space in here, since they are in like a desert area and whatnot, and there's not too many like people around and shit. It's probably like a lot of abandoned buildings where they're just, you know, hiding out. So I don't know, I've just been maybe my mind is programmed to think that a $69.99 game is supposed to have like the most densest population options, the most thrilling settings, graphically demanding settings. Like, I don't know, that's the best I can explain. Either way, the title looks decent from what we're seeing. I don't think it's going to be anything amazing or out of, you know, a game of the year worthy, but I am excited to deep dive into all the lore of the game and, you know, just feel like Indiana Jones. And that's all I got for today, man. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.